Hey, what is up guys? Justin from Out of the Basement here, and today we're not going to be looking at my posters. We're not going to be looking at the figures, that'll be another video, but we're going to check out my entire Blu-ray collection. I've been collecting Blu-rays since about 2014. My first Blu-ray was actually Jaws, and that was the re-release. I think it came out in 2014, so it's been 3 years now, and I've obviously amassed. It's actually full right now. I need another shelf, and I don't actually know what to do. If I buy one more Blu-ray, I won't know where to put it because that whole entire shelf is full. So let's jump into the collection. Alright, so I do organize them in alphabetical order, not by like TV series, movie, or whatever. It just goes in purely alphabetical order, starting with the numbers, of course. Big Eminem fan. Gotta have 8 Mile. Classic. Got 21 and 22 Jump Street. Love those comedies. 127 Hours, which is my favorite James Franco performance. Got 2001 Space Odyssey. A necessary Blu-ray to have in your collection. Of course, I got Alien and Aliens. The only Alien movies you need. And I know what you're thinking, but I am a huge Spider-Man fan. I got the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, so I mean, I have to have the movies, even if, one was actually decent. However, 2 was pretty meh, but I have to have it. American Beauty. Classic. American Psycho. I recently watched this one. I don't like it that much. I like it. I understand the deeper meaning, but Ant-Man, which I think is a really underrated Marvel film. Argo. Ben Affleck is a great director. And of course, one of my favorite movies, Army of Darkness. I think this is the best Evil Dead movie. Got Arrival. Have Avengers, and of course, Avengers Age of Ultron. I do prefer Age of Ultron over regular Avengers. One of the best horror films of recent times, The Babadook. The HBO miniseries, this is actually backwards. I'm going to fix that right now. Band of Brothers, which is a great HBO miniseries if you're interested in World War II history and documentary. Well, it's not a documentary, it's a drama, if you will, action. Batman 89, classic. Batman Begins, classic. Batman Returns, classic. Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice. I do defend this movie. I actually do like it. Let's see. Put those back. Got The Big Lebowski, which I actually have not seen. No, I have seen, but I've seen it recently. I watched it for the first time in the past year or so with Nate. Loved it. Had to get this nice steelbook. Got Birdman with the Red Ray. Awesome. Black Hawk Down. The Bourne trilogy, which I honestly, to be honest, I don't really like these movies. I think they're kind of overrated, but I guess it's entertaining to watch. Then I have all of Breaking Bad, which this is my second favorite show of all time. Second favorite show. Next to, we'll get to that. No peeking, by the way. No peeking. Captain America, The First Avenger. I've actually only seen this one time, and it was in theaters, so it's been a really long time. One of the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, The Winter Soldier. Probably the best, honestly, MCU film. Civil War. Casino Royale. And this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's definitely my favorite James Bond movie, and it is just one of my favorite movies of all time. Everything about it is great. Got Cars, the classic Pixar choice. Castaway, Wilson. Got some horror flicks here, The Conjuring and The Conjuring 2. I really love James Wan as a horror director. We got The Dark Knight. Dark Knight Rises. We have Dawn of the Dead directed by Zack Snyder, and I think this is still one of his best movies, and it's one of the best zombie apocalypse movies as well. We got Dawn of the Dead, or sorry, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, masterpiece. We got Deadpool, and we got another one of my favorite movies, probably in the top 10 favorite movies of all time, The Departed. And going on down, we got Die Hard, the classic. We got Django Unchained, one of my favorite, this, besides Star Wars, and we'll get to all that, this, I feel like, is one of my favorite movies, if not, probably my fourth favorite movie of all time. Probably my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. I really liked Hateful Eight too, so I really don't know. Don't Breathe. Dread, which is a regular and a 3D copy Blu-ray. Well, it's actually, I believe, one disc, but it's 3D and regular. So if you have a 3D TV and a 3D Blu-ray player, you can watch in 3D. I don't have a 3D Blu-ray player or 3D TV, so still awesome movie though. And I know I say that I'm gonna say this a lot in my video, but this is also one of my favorite movies of all time, Drive, with Ryan Gosling. If you haven't seen that, the soundtrack alone is a reason to watch the movie. I love the theme. I love the pink. When you open this up, yeah, you got all the pink down there, the classic 80s look. It's awesome. We got Dr. No, the very first James Bond film, the 007. I believe this came out in 1962, and I'm pretty sure this is the oldest movie I actually own on Blu-ray. We have The Drop with Tom Hardy. We have The Edge. One of my, not a guilty pleasure, but one of my little things I like. I really like survival movies, like Out in the Wilderness, like 127 Hours. Really great movie. The Edge is a great movie. Alec Baldwin and Anthony Hopkins. Whatever this movie's called, Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow, you know, that one movie starring Emily Blunt and Tom Cruise, and Bill Paxton is in it as well. Rest in peace, Bill Paxton, love you. But actually, great history with this. Me and a couple friends, we watched this on my last day of high school when this came out in 2014. Great time, great time. We have Everest, great visuals. We have, of course, the classic Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead Remake. Ex Machina, which I actually did a psychoanalysis for one of my college classes on this movie, because it works perfectly. Love the higher meaning of the movie. Fight Club. Who hasn't seen Fight Club? And I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I gotta, when I see the parodies, you know, with Family Guy, I just had to get them. Family Guy, Blue Harvest, Something 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 Dark Side, and of course, It's a Trap. And I love my Pixar. I love Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. First Blood, love this movie. This, I feel like, just as an action movie, this is really, really underrated. From Russia with Love, which is the second James Bond film. The Fugitive, which I'm yet to see, but I really want to see it. Got Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Jacket. Awesome, awesome movie. Fury, which is really good. I do like the movie. It's really good up until the end. Because I hate when movies, specifically World War II movies, they paint the opposing side, the Japanese armies or the German armies, they paint them as, like, incompetent, when in reality, you know, the Japanese and the Nazi Germany were some of the most ferocious warriors of all time. And it just paints them as, like, incompetent and, you know, go America, America wins. And the finale of this movie really is guilty of that. So, still really like it, though. And we got, Game of Thrones, first season. Game of Thrones, second season. And Game of Thrones, this is the third season. It's backwards, though, because the spine is all weird. I think these are all like that. Or no, apparently not. Alright, And then you got the 4th season, 5th season, and 6th season. Game of Thrones is my #1 TV show of all time. Love it. If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, please watch it. If there's anything I tell you to watch in here, if you listen to any one thing, just please watch Game of Thrones. Anyway, we got Godzilla 2014, Better Than Kong Skull Island. We got GoldenEye, the classic. Goldfinger, which, I think this might be the 3rd James Bond film. I'm not sure, don't quote me. We have David Fincher's, this one's backwards. Gone Girl. Awesome, awesome movie. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Got Goodfellas. Martin Scorsese's great director. The Graduate, which was a recommendation by Connor, and I loved it. Grand Budapest Hotel. Great original movie. Gran Torino. Get off my lawn. And the surprise hit, Guardians of the Galaxy from 2014. Can't wait until Volume 2 here in a few weeks. Alright, kneeling down here, we have The Guest with Dan Stevens. And I'm shaking so much because I have to kneel now. Sorry. The Guest with Dan Stevens. If you might have seen him in Beauty and the Beast. But great movie, great soundtrack. Got Green Room, Anton Yelchin's last movie before he died in a really messed up way, so rest in peace. Love this movie, sleeper hit. Hacksaw Ridge, which was a really great World War II film directed by Mel Gibson. The classic and probably my favorite horror movie of all time, Halloween. You gotta love Halloween. I feel like you can't not like Halloween, at least the classic. I don't really like any of the sequels, but hey, they're fun to watch sometimes with friends. And here I have the UK version of every single Harry Potter movie. So, I mean, shout out to the UK for always having, like, random collections, like you'll see with Iron Man, of big, huge franchise movies for really cheap, and they're region-free, so they work. And so we have the whole entire Harry Potter franchise here. I've actually not seen all of them, though. I've only seen Sorcerer's Stone. It's called Philosopher's Stone because it's in UK. Chamber of Secrets, Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, and I think I've seen The Order of the Phoenix. However, I haven't seen the rest, which I have heard that the last two are, or one of the last two is the best one. I think it might be the very last one that a lot of people love. And you know what? I actually take back what I said about Django earlier. This is my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Really, really underrated Quentin Tarantino movie. A lot of people say this is boring. The dialogue alone is amazing. I honestly think this is one of the most quotable movies of all time. We got Heat, Hell or High Water, which I wish this would have won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. That's what I was going for 2016. But really good movie, really good movie. The Hills Have Eyes remake, which I don't know if a lot of people think this movie is bad, but I know it's not rated that high on certain websites, but I love it, honestly. Might be a guilty pleasure, I guess, but I don't think it's bad, so does that not make it a guilty pleasure? You want to know what is bad? The Hobbit series. Unexpected Journey, Desolation of Smaug is really good, and then the Steelbook with Battle of the Five Armies, I only really have these. Well, I actually really do like Desolation of Smaug. However, these other two are just really boring. And the only reason I have them is for completionist mentality, and I love Lord of the Rings, so I mean, I kind of just have to. But over here we have The Hurt Locker, which won 6 Academy Awards, including Best Director, who is like one of the only female directors to ever win an Oscar. There's been more than one, but she's like the most recent female director to win an Oscar. And it's interesting because it's a purely like masculine movie. So anyway, we got I Am Legend, which is more of like a childhood, well, I wasn't really a child when this came out, but Well, I guess I was, but it's not really that good anymore. It's alright. Inception, awesome movie. Have the original Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Inglourious Bastards. And continuing with the Pixar trope, we got Inside Out. And like I said about James Wan being one of my favorite horror directors, love the Insidious trilogy. Even 2. I like 2, but the first one is the best. And we got Interstellar, one of my favorite movies of 2014. And we have the UK versions of Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Which, shout out to the UK for having those for super cheap on Amazon.com. And we got It Follows, masterpiece. We got Jaws, masterpiece. We got JFK, which was a recommendation by Nate, but I have not watched it. This movie is like hours and hours long, and sometime over the summer, I will watch this. John Wick, which has that stylish action that I love with a great soundtrack. We have Jurassic Park, The Lost World Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park 3, and Jurassic World. Jurassic World isn't even that good. I think I was just playing off the hype of when I first saw it, but like I haven't watched it since I bought it on Blu-ray. Kill Bill Volume 1, which is a masterpiece. Kill Bill Volume 2 was okay. I really prefer Volume 1 over 2, but I mean both are good. We have Kingsman: The Secret Service. Really loved this movie, really loved it. It had some balls. Krampus. Lego Movie, one of my favorite children's movies. Limitless, which I feel like Limitless is a really underrated movie, really underrated. This has a great soundtrack. I say that a lot, but hey, soundtrack is what I'm looking for a lot of the times. Not just the soundtrack, but I feel like the soundtrack or the cinematic score can definitely make or break a film. Lone Survivor, which was one of my first Blu-ray purchases. Looper, who was directed by the guy who is going to direct Episode 9, Star Wars. And we have The Fellowship of the Rings, the best Lord of the Rings movie. And by the way, guys, I apologize for shaking so much. It's actually kind of tiring holding this. I'm just recording it with my phone, and I'm like kneeling down, so it's kind of like really taking a toll here. We have Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers and Return of the King. Two Towers being my least favorite, but I mean they're all good, of course. We have the Steelbook, the awesome Steelbook of Mad Max Fury Road. We got Man of Steel, which I will always defend Man of Steel. I still think it's the best DC Universe movie. Love it. We have The Martian by Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott definitely had a bounce back with this after directing Exodus, which was apparently a really bad movie. I haven't seen it. And we have, of course, the classic, the awesome Steelbook with The Matrix. I actually found this Steelbook at my local disc replay. We have Memento, which is, still to this day, I think it's Christopher Nolan's best movie. Really mind-bending, makes you think. Minority Report, which is a really underrated Steven Spielberg movie. I think it's actually really good. Misery. This is actually one of my mom's favorite movies. We got Mission Impossible 3, which is still my favorite Mission Impossible movie. I love Philip Seymour Hoffman as the villain, rest in peace. And it's directed by J.J. Abrams, which I actually learned that in recent years. I never knew that. And of course we have Ghost Protocol and the awesome Steelbook for Rogue Nation. Really as you can tell, I enjoy the later installments of Mission Impossible rather than the early installments. So we have Moon, one of my favorites. Awesome soundtrack, awesome story. I love the message that it has, and there's also a lot of references to other classic movies in it, and it's really good. Sam Rockwell gives a great performance. We have Napoleon Dynamite. We have The Nice Guys with Ryan Gosling. Really love Ryan Gosling. Like Ryan Gosling and Jake Gyllenhaal. Those two guys are good. And speaking of Jake Gyllenhaal, we got Nightcrawler right here. One of my favorite movies of 2014, if not my favorite. It's either Nightcrawler or Interstellar, but awesome, awesome movie. We have No Country for Old Men. which is a really good one. The Pacific, which this come in this huge clunky box. The tin looks pretty cool, but I would have just preferred it how they did it with Band of Brothers. But I've seen Band of Brothers actually really recently, but I have not started on the Pacific yet. Speaking of Pacific Rim, bro. Awesome, awesome movie. This is CGI, huge things done right. Like, a lot of people compare this with something like Kong, Skull Island, and stuff like that. But I mean, everyone should watch Pacific Rim, honestly. We have The Patriot, which is an awesome movie. Pineapple Express, pretty good comedy. I don't know why I have this. I don't like Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I guess, like, the first one is the best one, so I was like, why not? But, I should probably sell that one, honestly. But here we got Pitch Black, starring Vin Diesel. This is my favorite movie with Vin Diesel in it, besides Saving Private Ryan. And this movie is actually really, really good. We have The Place Beyond the Pines. Really ballsy movie, really like it. We have the original Predator. Predestination, starring Ethan Hawke. We got Prestige by Christopher Nolan. Oh, God. Pulp Fiction. Now, this is where the hate's going to come into play here. This is how this video, if it gets mass hate, it's going to be because of this. I actually believe Pulp Fiction to be Quentin Tarantino's most overrated movie. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's the least entertaining, and I feel like every other movie by him is just better than Pulp Fiction. And I know it's crazy. I know I'm in the minority, but hey, that's my opinion. Quantum of Solace, meh. Have the first 2 seasons of Regular Show on Blu-ray, which is awesome. Reservoir Dogs, better than Pulp Fiction. Have The Revenant, which, of course, Leo won his Oscar with this movie. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which spawned possibly one of the greatest trilogies, depending if War for the Planet of the Apes later this year is good. Oops. We have Saving Private Ryan. Ugh, don't even have to say anything for that one. Scarface, which I actually kind of like Scarface. I kind of just got this because the steelbook is so cool for this one. The original Scream, Wes Craven, awesome. Shaun of the Dead with Simon Pegg, really funny. Shawshank Redemption, probably one of Morgan Freeman's best movies. Let me just readjust here. What was I on here? The Shining, which I have actually not seen The Shining. I know it's crazy, but one of these nights. We have Shooter, Shutter Island, Sicario, Skyfall, which is, a lot of people like this one over Casino Royale, but I just don't see it. Still good though. Snowpiercer, really good one with Chris Evans. Source Code, which this is with the director of Moon and Warcraft for whatever reason. But I feel like his 2 movies, I haven't seen Warcraft, but Source Code and Moon are really good original movies. We got South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Love South Park. Too bad they took it off Netflix. And there's like a huge gap right here, but down here we have the Spider-Man trilogy. Grew up with these trilogies. I grew up with Spider-Man. I'm Chris Stuckman now. But anyway, Spotlight won Best Picture of the Year for 2015. I have the... God, sorry, this is weird sitting down like this. But I have the entire saga on Blu-ray. Now, let me let you in on a little secret, which everyone already knows about, but having this, this is honestly just for looks, because I bought this before I learned about Harma, who did Star Wars Despecialized. If you do not know what Star Wars Despecialized is, and you're a Star Wars fan, please look up Star Wars Despecialized and get the digital copies of those. Put them on a flash drive, put them on your computer. You need them. it's a need. I wish Disney would release the unaltered original trilogy on Blu-ray quality. However, I feel like George Lucas made them sign their souls away and like never be able to release the unaltered, unedited, not the special editions of the original trilogy. But that's what the despecialized versions are. It's the unedited versions in Blu-ray quality, and they're amazing. So, I mean, this is like, eh. But right here, I have the Star Wars, The Clone Wars, complete seasons 1 to 5, which is amazing. If you're a huge Star Wars fan, you need... I just wish you could watch this. And it's on Netflix. There's 5 seasons, and then there's like the 6th season, which is called The Lost Missions. But it's like season 6, and there's a lot of like world building. It actually gives humanity to the clones, and there's just so many great things about the Clone Wars cartoon that originally aired on Cartoon Network. And it is canon. It is canon with the Star Wars universe. So if you're a big fan and you want to know more, just watch that show, and I guarantee you won't be disappointed. And of course, when Disney bought Star Wars, they created their own series, Star Wars Rebels, which takes place along the time of the original trilogy. I haven't watched season 1 yet. I'm still finishing season 6 of the Clone Wars, or The Lost Missions, which I'm watching on Netflix because I don't have it on Blu-ray yet. But here we have the Steelbook of The Force Awakens. Awesome. Here we have the Steelbook of Rogue One. Awesome. Here we have the Steelbook of Straight Outta Compton. Awesome. We got The Strangers on Blu-ray. Spooky. We have shitty movie Suicide Squad on Blu-ray. We got Superbad. By the way, the only reason I own this is because I am actually a fan of Jared Leto's Joker. A lot of people say it reminds them of Mark Hamill's classic Joker from the animated series in the 90s. I like his Joker, honestly. We have Superbad, I said. We have Super Bowl 45 champions. I am a Green Bay Packers fan. There's my cheesehead right there. And glad to be alive for at least 2 Super Bowl victories now. We have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Ooze. Classic, love this movie. It's my favorite original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Got the original Terminator, which is superior to Terminator 2. I will bring that down to the grave. Terminator 1 is better than Terminator 2. We got The Thing by John Carpenter. Awesome. We have the first Thor, which is an okay movie. Don't have Thor: The Dark World because, you know, that's a bad movie. We have This Is the End. Awesome comedy. Total Recall, the classic. The Town, again, Ben Affleck is a great director. It's kind of saddening that he's not going to be directing his own Batman solo film. But we have the original Toy Story trilogy there. Awesome movies. Childhood. We have Tremors, which is a really nice classic starring Kevin Bacon. We have Trick or Treat, which was a recommendation by Nate from Out of the Basement, fellow member. Yet to see that. I want to watch that one with him, though. Tropic Thunder. We have the original True Grit in steelbook form. We got the remake of True Grit, starring Jeff Bridges and Matt Damon. The Usual Suspects with Kevin Spacey, awesome movie. V for Vendetta. Haven't watched it yet, but I heard it's good. We have The Walking Dead Season 1, which is the best season of The Walking Dead. And The Walking Dead Season 2. I also read The Walking Dead comic books, and I'm a much bigger fan of the comics rather than the show. The show is alright, but the comics just blow it way out of the water. War of the Worlds. Watchmen, director's cut. Whiplash, awesome movie. The Witch, really underrated 2015 or 2016, whichever one release. Very underrated horror film. We have The Wolf of Wall Street. And we have X-Men Days of Future Past, which I'm sorry if you're an X-Men fan, but it's the only X-Men movie I enjoy. We have, this is backwards, David Fincher's Zodiac. I think this is one of his best movies, honestly. And the very last thing we have is Zombieland. And that's it. And the shelf is full, guys. The shelf is full. I do not know what to do. Sorry, I do not know what to do about the shelving situation here. I need help. I need ideas. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed that video, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Leave a comment, you know, what's your favorite movie out of my Blu-ray collection. And I'll see you guys later. I've been Justin from Out of the Basement. Peace.